Trying something a little new today. Roody 2D. Let's play. Maybe that'll have to work. Zoom out and have a look. Interesting. Ooh, that's a weird jiggle. Off. I picked up this game about 5 months ago. Played it for a while. A couple weeks. Pretty interesting. I just kind of forgot about it, so this is me trying it out again. I had to play a few tutorials last night because I forgot a lot of the buttons. For instance, right now I'm holding shift and I can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. If I don't hold shift, it moves your hotbar down below. And shift is your welding. You can unweld, re-weld with your left-right mouse buttons. And if a person was real curious, you can do all kinds of keybinds yourself. Lots of options, which is nice. So we got a bit of a research tree here, and right now it's asking for sand. You click on it, it gives you a little bit of a story. The block doesn't connect to any other. It slides off other blocks, so you can't stack it. You can use an arc furnace to turn it to silicone and then glass. I hit escape here, and if I hit F1 on the collector, it actually gives you a story on the collector. Same with the mass collector, the combiner. Hit F1 on anything you're hovering on, and it gives you a bit of a story in the guidebook. And then the other interesting thing is the quest tree, or the research tree rather. Processing power. Collecting 10 sand to unlock research. And as we unlock research, we can do more things. You can see right now, there's a bit of a clicking radius to what I can select. So what I like about games like this, what makes them interesting, all of these blocks, or I guess in this 2D world, they're more like tiles, they all have different properties. Most of these blocks in this game, I think, all are affected by gravity. But leaves, for instance, you can walk through. Let's say you're trying to explore. Can't get over this tree. Think you could pick it up if you hold right click. However, all those red X's are telling you it's attached and you can't pick up that much earth. I believe that's what it's telling you. So I've unwelded the tree, and now when I right click, I can pick it up. So what a person could do is flip the tree upside down. Now, the leaves actually hold up the structure. They allow you to walk through it. If I was to get rid of the leaves, you'd see it falls. And that goes for anything, right? I break that, it falls. I hit Q, puts that away. I can re-weld this. And nothing, when you place something down, nothing actually happens until you move. And often it's nice to not actually move in the game. So if you just hit S, which is like your sneak or your crouch, kind of the same difference. Hit Q to get rid of that ore for now. And let's put sand here. You can either click on it with the mouse or F. I definitely prefer the F key. As you can see, there was more weight. How do I say that? It was pushing blocks this way, and then they met an immovable source. Now it started pushing blocks that way. Here's an interesting thing about stacking blocks. Sand does not like to stack. The research tree is only a guide. So now we can pick from these three options. We can do copper. We can do lamps. There. And as long as we weld this stuff, this now cannot move. What I'd like to do too is if you weld everything together, but only attach it to the ground in one spot, it makes moving it later a lot easier. I guess picking a block, that one, that's easy to see and find and remember. Good. Just kind of realizing I've got these attached all wrong. So let's try this again here. Got our stone. Going to extract it to sand. It's going to cook it. And once it's the right material type, so we're cooking stone, or I guess we're extracting sand from stone. We're cooking it into silicone, and then we're turning it to glass. The arc furnace will destroy some materials. Other materials, it will not. And again, each block having a different type of property makes automating in this game kind of interesting. Now we're doing pulp. And it just so happened with dumb luck, the next thing is rubber. So of course what you can do in this game is you can add all kinds of logic components. For instance, the arc furnace, when it's processing, it's actually emitting a charge. So you can have pistons move. Actually, if I hit T here and go back to the research tree, just look at a few items down. We've got mining machines that we can make, like the destroyer, the dismantler. Grinds away connections on a block. What's really cool is you get into analog systems. You can make capacitors. Latches are kind of cool. It's like a gate. Basically, if you've got a high signal here, it can't pass through unless you've got a high signal on the side. And as I unlock more stuff or research, I can get more interesting mechanics. I like how the game starts you off with a few contraptions. You don't have to start from the absolute beginning. And right now, since my inventory is empty, I could actually hit Q, and it puts the whole thing, if I hit tab here and bring that back, in my inventory. It's like a game of Tetris. Better to be efficient, right? So you wouldn't really want to stick a whole object like that in your inventory, unless it was like a template. I guess you were moving it somewhere. But I've never got far enough in the game to require such a thing. I don't exactly know how far I got in this game. It wasn't very far when I last played. But they've added a lot of new material since then. And I think this is one of those games. It's kind of interesting to discover mechanics on your own. That's what I'm hopefully planning to do here. Is to avoid too many spoilers, right? Let's close that. I like that down there. If I'm really stuck, I'll probably consult the Discord. There's a really good Discord community for this game. People post all kinds of wild contraptions, but I'll try to avoid too many spoilers at the start. So now we need cores. Basically cores you just have to go out and find. This way's flatter. I can see it'll be a little awkward getting back here. Maybe I could do something like that. See me definitely wanting to expand my base in this direction. Give myself more walking. Being able to manipulate the trees like this is actually pretty slick. See, this looks like a new material, chert. So if I hit F1 on chert, it's harder than rock. When it's naturally generated, it's immune to movement. It can be immune to movement. But apparently I can still mine it all the same. Well, this is cool. I've never seen a pine tree before. You put them upside down, you can easily walk through the canopy. That may just be my trick. Ice. The water has interesting properties too, especially like you can basically make, I think it's called pistons in this game. It's not compressible. So with pistons, you can push blocks and water that fills a cavity. How do I say that? Water that fills a cavity can be pushed around. Kind of path of least resistance. Because I'm all the way here. We'll grab some of that because I see it. So not super far from the base. Base is right there. This structure's new to me. I don't want to go in it in case it's a dungeon. I know some structures can spawn bad guys. There is health in this game. For instance, you can see the red bar below me. You gotta be a little careful to not crush yourself. I usually try to avoid combat until it's absolutely necessary. These frames have the exact same properties as leaves. They're just cooler to look at, I believe. It's cheap too, like it says there. Of course, platforms not researched, but you can jump through them, sneak, and they're structural. They're pretty cool. 2. What is this? Maple logs. Well, it just so happens we do not have enough. Aha, it's gonna unlock scaffolding for me, isn't it? Wait a second, that's interesting. I was to click on that, unweld it. Gravity actually doesn't affect it. So if you want to make sure stuff doesn't fall, you just have to kind of hold it there. I wonder if that's a new thing. This is where it's going to get interesting. A copper bar. We got copper ore getting cooked. For that, you've got your infinite ore vein. These are easy enough to find around the world, so I think what you do in certain setups is you have multiple. Like right now I only have, whoops, gotta hit Q. I only have one extractor, but when I research them, I can make more. And you can have dedicated setups. For instance, a dedicated setup just to make copper ore. Or copper bars, rather. What about wafers? Wafers are silicone. That's not how that works. Let's try picking that up before it gets cooked again. See, this is where you'd want a piston interrupting that, or a conveyor belt, for instance, once I get more fancy logic. So I don't know why the early game gives you this contraption. A bunch of magnets, conveyor belts, and a mass block. I kind of just move it. It's out of the way. I don't know where out of the way it looks like. For now it's there. Hit F. We've got the combiner. The combiner should make. Check the properties of this block. Some blocks you can just stack up and process. Other blocks, gravity's affected. So you would want to deliver the silicone on a conveyor belt. Look at that. This is how I guess a person could make early game stockpiles. The system won't process more, and it kind of backs up your chain. But all you have to do, kind of manipulate it that way, things can change. It's probably handy to weld that. I don't know if there's a height limit, but I don't want my machines to fly away on me. This is an important piece of text right here. Do not expect to be able to automate everything right away. Automation takes resources, time, and possibly more research. T. Where are we at for research? We're at here. Let's make frames. We got steel. Let's steel, iron bars. Actually, you know what would be a good idea? Placing that here. So I don't have to move. Okay, back to here. I guess we had a stockpile of those. At some point, there's an item, or a block rather, in the game. I guess you call it a machine. That is called a mantler, and it welds. It does that. But for right now, I have to do that. And what's interesting, again, is I don't think you have to feed them in sideways. Yeah, see, vertical works too. So potentially you could have a gravity operation that welds things as they pass by, the use of pistons and whatnot. You have a vertical tower of copper bars that just weld these and drop them. And as you take as you take your stockpile, more drop. Let's turn that off. Oops, place you in the right spot. Go back to here. Try to do 10. Go back to T. This is where it gets interesting. Processing machines. Look at that. We're going to learn how to make the extractor. Cast iron. 10 of those. It's crazy. I just submitted 10 of these. So what's the story with cast iron? Sand, cast iron bar. That's a little different of a craft. And notice this one doesn't have to be welded. Let's try one just for curiosity. I guess I gotta unweld that. You can see how early game you have to kind of move your setups and always tweak them. Really nice once you can build, more than one arc furnace. Let's try to extract some more sand and not crush ourselves. Oops. Cool. Oh, that's interesting. The sand is like a catalyst. It doesn't actually get used. I didn't know that. I don't have to actually go and mine more sand, which is nice. And I've just crushed myself. What if we weld this? You can't weld sand. I bet this setup would work on the... No, it wouldn't work on the vertical. Sand would fall down. I'm learning. Alright, cool. I am back to trying to make that scaffolding. See how standing here where everything's in reach is kind of nice, especially early game. And you're doing it all manually. Let's turn that off. I don't mind processing a little bit more for myself to use. Nice, nailed it. Diode allows a charge to only flow in one direction after a short delay. Cool. As opposed to the transistor. When charged from any of the three sides, the output is off. That's a gate. Okay. Another interesting thing too is rotation for some blocks apparently matter. Like if I do this setup and I try to weld it, it tells me I can't. The minute that I rotate it, if I was to do it in the opposite configuration, it doesn't matter. Alright, if I go back to the quest tree, maybe that's a good stopping point. We are now on analog systems. We'll unlock all these. What is the divider? The divider divides the back input charge by 2. The quotient is the output of the front. The remainder is the output on the sides. This is where it gets interesting. We make a few transistors and a few motors. Bit of a bigger circuit. I got lost here in the menu. You can start making cool machines. Automated crafting. This might just be a good wrapping up point.